Denny Hamlin and fans of the number 11 car will look back on the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season with mixed emotions. On the track, the three-time Daytona 500 winner won a couple of times, matching his win total of the year before, but those trips to victory lane this year were outnumbered by a surprising 5 DNFs. More than he accumulated the past 3 years combined. Those ugly numbers were part of what would undoubtedly be considered Hamlin's worst year since 2018, when he didn't win a single race. Interestingly, his numbers from this past season were statistically worse than that 2018 season in numerous important categories, including top 10s, top 20s, and average starting position and average finish. His average finish this year was 15.5. The last time he had an average finish that poor goes all the way back to 2013 when he averaged 21st. All of those numbers unsurprisingly added up to him missing the Final Four for the first time since 2018. While the now 42-year-old didn't exactly have a stellar season on the track, there's also no denying that he stepped up his game as a veteran leader in the garage, using his voice to speak up on multiple important issues. He was vocal in 2021 about safety concerns with the next-gen car long before it ever debuted. He continued to beat that drum throughout the year, even later in the season, boldly calling out NASCAR's leadership and calling for a complete redesign.
The car needs to be redesigned. That it needs a full redesign. I mean, it can still be called next-gen, but it needs to be redesigned. We brought up these concerns with NASCAR last winter. We actually, as the drivers, didn't do that docu-series last year because we didn't feel comfortable with this next-gen car and the safety, the lack of safety testing that had been done before they started announcing that they were going to run it. So it's just, we threw up red flags over a year ago, and they just didn't respond. They just kept pushing that this car's got to be on the racetrack at all costs.
Hamlin was also vocal on another next-gen car-related subject that got a lot less publicity back in April at Circuit of the Americas, when he addressed NASCAR's surprise announcement that it was partnering with Hendrick Motorsports to bring a modified next-gen Chevrolet Camaro to the 24 Hour of Le Mans in 2023. Chad Knaus, Vice President of Competition at HMS, would be overseeing the Garage 56 project. Hamlin bluntly admitted that the announcement didn't sit right with him on multiple levels.
Finding out through a press conference is not okay. We have too many people in place. NASCAR has too many executives for that to slip through the cracks. Not that it slipped through the cracks, but like, where's the transparency of it? And then, on the other side, there's certainly these performance advantages that every team is concerned with. There's no, short of us being allowed to have the same track time, I do not see any way possible that they will not have an advantage. And this is a team that already has won more races than anyone this season with the next year. So I think, from my standpoint, it seemed like the decision was made, and they'll kind of figure out the details.
Those details are now starting to come into focus. The Garage 56 car was tested a few weeks ago at Virginia International Raceway by veteran road racer and former overall Le Mans winner Mike Rockenfeller, who said the car was much faster and ran lap times an astonishing 10 seconds quicker than the Cup car. NASCAR COO Steve O'Donnell talked about the Garage 56 car recently on the Stackin' Pennies podcast with Corey LaJoie.
But there's a lot of things we've looked at in the wind tunnel that we found on that car that I think we can try for, fairly inexpensive way to go about it, particularly on the short track. So you'll see us most likely go test something up in Richmond. So, but I think there's going to be some good things, at least, from what we've seen already, wind tunnel and a lot of the sim data, it looks really good in terms of getting rid of some of the challenges as we've seen, particularly on the short tracks.
So overall, that's a good thing. NASCAR is trying to address the issues encountered on short tracks and road courses this year. However, the way it's better understanding these challenges is through various forms of testing, all under the watchful eye of Knaus. Hamlin might have sounded like it was a case of sour grapes back in April, but now as more information comes out, he appears to be right. HMS has a front row seat to all of the testing, not only when it comes to aero, but suspension as well. The Garage 56 project project was effectively a blank slate beginning with the new next-gen car to see how they could make it competitive in Le Mans. By the sounds of it, they are making progress toward that goal. And just by the simple fact that Canales and HMS has been right in the middle of it, there's just no way of getting around it that they are gaining an advantage. While some at NASCAR or HMS might suggest that all the cars will receive the benefits of the updates to the car, which is true, knowing the nuance and the details of what generated those changes is equally as important, if not more so. Interestingly, when Hamlin made his remarks following the announcement in the spring, he said HMS already had the most wins with the next-gen car at that point. He was right. When the 2022 season finished, HMS finished with 11 wins. The next closest team was Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing with 6. 2023 is just a few months away, and you can bet the folks at HMS are looking forward to the season, knowing full well that what they've learned with the Garage 56 car will only help them improve on their season best performance in 2022. And Hamlin and the rest of the non-HMS teams will know that it's an organization that NASCAR has unapologetically tilted the odds in their favor.